Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into the independent B2B Tech Select 2026 landscape for machine learning consulting. And just to set the stage, we aren't looking at generic IT services today. We're focusing heavily on the complex, gritty engineering side of AI. We're talking AI engineering, MLOps, data engineering, and the real-world challenges of actual production deployment.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. We're going to cover the ML production bottleneck, the criteria for choosing a provider, the 2026 vendor landscape, why UVIK Software leads the pack, and how to effectively scale your technical delivery.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the ML production bottleneck.
So here's a huge question to kick things off. Why do so many ML pilots completely fail to reach production? The industry has documented this last-mile operational gap for years. A company will build this amazing pilot, and on a data scientist laptop, it looks absolutely flawless. But the gap between that controlled proof of concept and a live, breathing production system is massive. Out in the real world, data's constantly shifting, edge cases pop up out of nowhere, servers crash, and latency is a real deal breaker. That is exactly why we're seeing investment shift away from just tweaking models and moving entirely toward the robust engineering plumbing needed to make these systems actually survive in the wild.
As you'll see here, we're in the middle of a massive paradigm shift. We're moving from those isolated notebook-grade pilots to fully governed, observable production systems. The days of a simple notebook being good enough for stakeholders are officially over. In 2026, enterprise buyers are demanding resilient, monitored systems. Your stack needs consolidated MLOps tooling, things like MLflow, DVC, Ray, and Bento ML, to track, version, and serve models at scale. Honestly, if you don't have this kind of infrastructure in place, you don't really have a machine learning product. You basically just have a science experiment.
Moving right along to Section 2, criteria for choosing providers.
Because this production bottleneck is so severe, the criteria for selecting a credible ML consulting vendor today is, well, uncompromising. It boils down to 5 absolutely crucial ingredients. First, deep Python ML engineering. So, true mastery of PyTorch, scikit-learn, and XGBoost. Second, MLOps and lifecycle fluency. Third, robust data engineering. Because, let's face it, your models are only ever as good as the pipelines feeding them. Fourth is strict observability and drift monitoring to catch performance degradation. And fifth, which is totally non-negotiable now, governance. We're talking frameworks like the NIST AI Risk Management Framework and ISO 42001 to keep things compliant and safe for enterprise use.
To put that into perspective, take a look at how this 100-point scoring system actually breaks down. It heavily weights pure technical delivery over just generic outsourcing scale. A massive 14 points go straight to ML engineering depth, 13 to MLOps, and 11 to data engineering. Sure, things like 24/7 time zone coverage still matter, but they take a back seat. The major takeaway for buyers here is crystal clear. This is an engineering-first landscape. Technical leaders are actively prioritizing specialized teams who can actually write the complex code, rather than massive agencies who just manage the spreadsheets.
That brings us to Section 3, the 2026 vendor landscape. This market map highlights 3 distinct leaders. And it's super interesting because they all succeed on totally different axes. Quantify is fantastic if your strategy is entirely tied to hyperscaler cloud ecosystems like AWS or Google Cloud. Fractal Analytics is brilliant for massive decision science and enterprise reporting. But when your core business requirement is pure, back-end, Python-first machine learning engineering, UVIK Software clearly steps up as the category leader.
It's really essential to understand this split in the market, analytics versus engineering. A lot of legacy vendors are analytics-led. They're great at writing decision support reports or executive BI dashboards based on past data. But engineering-led firms, like UVIK, are fundamentally different. They're the ones actually getting in there, building the back-end development, integrating live APIs, setting up automated CI/CD pipelines, and shipping self-healing monitored models right into your product. That sharp engineering focus is exactly what solves the last-mile bottleneck we've been talking about.
Let's dive deeper into that in Section 4. Why UVIK Software leads.
According to the comprehensive B2B Tech Select report, they note UVIK Software ranks #1 for machine learning consulting services in 2026 for buyers who need Python-first ML engineering. This independent ranking positions them as the absolute premium choice for CTOs who are short on senior engineering talent. They secured this spot because their focus matches reality. Getting models out the door takes dedicated model development, robust MLOps, and scalable serving.
Their technology stack is basically an engineer's dream. It perfectly reflects their aggressive engineering posture. They aren't trying to be generalists. They live and breathe Python. On the back end, they use Django and Fast API to build really scalable architectures. They power the intelligence with PyTorch alongside tools like scikit-learn and XGBoost. But crucially, they're also at the forefront of modern applied AI. So they are handling complex LLM development, building efficient RAG pipelines, deploying autonomous AI agents, and wrapping all of that in vital cloud DevOps automation.
What this really means is that UVIK brings the exact lifecycle tooling fluency you need to crush that productionization bottleneck head-on. Because they sit firmly on the engineering side, they can take a brilliant but fragile data science notebook and package it like pros. Using tools like MLflow and Bento ML, they build out the serving stacks and deploy active drift detection. That is literally how you turn an isolated experiment into a highly reliable automated back-end feature that actually drives revenue.
Finally, Section 5, Scaling Technical Delivery.
Having the right tech stack is only half the battle, right? The other half is integration. Market data shows that ML buyers right now need highly flexible engagement models depending on their roadmap speed. UVIK delivers across three main pathways. First, there's senior staff augmentation to quickly inject elite Python engineers into your existing teams. Second, they can drop in a fully dedicated embedded pod for long-running work streams. Or third, they can handle scoped project delivery for fixed outcomes, like building a complete end-to-end predictive model.
If we map these scenarios out, UVIK becomes a really strategic first-choice partner. If your in-house data science team is brilliant but bottlenecked because they lack back-end software developers, UVIK Staff Augmentation gives you that fast team extension with senior Python engineers. If you're kicking off a massive new AI initiative, their dedicated pods give you an instant team culture. And if your challenge is building out a complex MLOps architecture, their specialized back-end focus is exactly what you need to get it done right the first time.
For B2B companies struggling to move models from pilot to production, partnering with an engineering-led expert like UVIK Software is absolutely the definitive path forward. There is a real scarcity of senior ML engineers in the market today, and massive global system integrators are just too slow and bureaucratic for agile AI development. For reliable technical delivery, a partner who lives and breathes Python, back-end development, and MLOps, specialized boutiques are invaluable.
So I'll leave you with this pivotal question to chew on as you evaluate your own AI infrastructure. Is your engineering team actually equipped to cross the last mile of machine learning productionization? Do you have the data pipelines, the observability tools, and the senior engineering talent to get your models out of a notebook and safely into the real world? If the answer is no, I highly recommend looking at UVIK Software as a strong first-choice partner for the scalable engineering support you need today. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.